mentors at least.
That's Erica.
We have so many mentors. We have an extra spot if a mentor wants to take the chair. Alright. So before we start, I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves, what team you were, what your role was, and then we'll start talking.
Stop talking. Stop talking.
I'm Lindsay Pitters. I'm with RSI. I'm the Vice President of Clinic Relations. I just got a title. Yay! My day job is I'm a faculty member at Health Sciences Center. So.
You know who I am. Go.
I'm John Smothers. I'm CEO of Reproductive Solutions Incorporated, or RSI. I'm also a mentor, but I retreated from that role this year to actually run a team. I was working full-time through this process, and so that maybe presents a little bit different perspective. I'm full-time RSI.
I'm David Miller, and I was a mentor for Accelerator and another team that went through NSF ICOR, the national team, this last year. And I'm the CEO of a company that's here that's part of a workout with a venture company. We exited in October of last year. So we exited during venture, so it's good timing. It's always good timing to exit. I've been part of several companies, startup companies, and was a vice chancellor here at Texas Tech over research and technology commercialization, but I've been in the private sector for quite a while.
I'm Kerry Gilbert. I am CFO, co-inventor, co-founder of TK Quant, which is a team that's graduating, I think.
You're ready.
So we're excited to graduate on Wednesday. And then my day job, I'm a faculty member, professor, program director at the Health Sciences Center, program director over the Doctor of Physical Therapy program, director over the Clinical Anatomy Research Lab, course coordinator over gross anatomy for the School of Health Professions. And so as we all have different things that go on beyond what's happening here, and so I think that's a challenge my assumption is it's a challenge for each of you as well, and I can just tell you if I did this, then you can do it, and so here we go.
So I got you one more mentor. Anthony, come on. Go ahead, Anthony, introduce yourself. Everyone knows you.
Yeah, I'm Anthony Presley. I'm no longer the director of mentors.
Come on.
You were not a social butterfly enough.
Yeah, it tells me exactly what I was not doing.
You weren't the butterfly.
Well,
Tell us what you do. Who are you? Who are you?
I was a mentor on a team on Resumakers. My day job, I am the Chief Product Officer at Truno, actually where I met this gentleman and actually a couple of folks in the room, and run a couple of startups on the side from time to time, and I try and be a social butterfly.
Okay, so now the real stuff, right? And everybody's going to be very honest here. So we don't
Shut the door.
Yes, shut the door. Okay, so first we'll start with how do you feel today? Relieved it's over, sad, it's over.
So much more to be the first person.
I wish the program was 2 years. That's another option.
I'm actually excited because our company has gone so far. Our company was actually founded in 2009, and we kind of followed the wicked twisted road for a long time until we got into the Accelerator. And I don't know, John may disagree, but I think we've gotten more done in the last year than we have for several years before that.
You guys finally start working.
Well, get us out of the lab and make us do something else. So I'm really excited because we've done so much.
I'm excited, confident, relieved a little bit, but energized at the same time because of we're graduating, but we're not missing a step. full speed ahead from here on. I think a year is just the right time for this. One of the things that I wondered about when the program started was how long it would take to actually get an efficient, effective mentor team and our team together. And I was surprised how fast that happened. And I think that's because of the commitment of the mentors and of your commitment.
We're excited to graduate, but there's a certain degree of anxiety that goes along with that, because we've been taught what to do, we've been taught how to do it, and now there's nobody else we can point to and say, well, but, right, it's all on us. And so we're excited. I don't know that I could have taken another year, but there's a little bit of a sadness to the fact that, we know that our success thus far is a direct response to our mentors, and we realize now we've been taught the right things to do, but now we have to go do it. And so we're excited, but there's a significant degree of anxiety of, okay, we no longer have those people that are pushing us going, hey, you said you were going to do this, where is it, right? So, but we know that team, and Lena's in the room, and did a great job with us, and we know that we can call her and say, hey, we need help with this. In fact, we just read our STTR grant application that's going soon. So lots of emotions.
So the mentors didn't get to talk, right? So we'll go for one of those questions. So and we'll start with David. Has your perception of your team, and David is a good one to talk about this, has your perception of your team changed over the year and how?
Yeah, it's changed a lot. Some of that's good, some of it's not so good. The perception of the team changed a lot, mainly because the team changed. So one of the big shifts there is we had some challenges, some legal issues, some immigration issues from a research perspective that were related to the team. So we had a new CEO that came into the team who was replaced on the team, and the CEO that moved is still on the team. So that presented an interesting dynamic of which the team is still working through and trying to become effective. So it changed a lot through the course of that period of time. But I think the bigger thing that changed is this idea, I think one of the slides mentioned that you're going to get out of the program what you put into it. And so that's one of the things that happened. And I've seen with more than one team is that, the most important thing that I look for in a team is probably tenacity, because there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. And so you really have to through all those changes, be willing to say, hey, look, I know there's going to be those changes. I'm not going to be emotionally driven, but I'm going to have a tenacity and persistence in the process to make sure that through those changes you stay resolute and disciplined, because it's going to take that sometimes to get through it.
That was really good. Thanks. I think my word would be grit. You've got tenacity, great. So yeah, our team changed a bit. I would say that they were very polished coming in, and then I would say that our team found out that the reality of the startup life is make sure you can commit your hours every week, and grit is really what gets you through it, because suddenly you have a group of 5 young professionals who all realize that projects are real at work or you don't eat. And so the job kind of came crashing down, and so suddenly projects got delayed, and we weren't as polished anymore, and I think it was a scramble towards the end. So making sure you've got the commitment for the long haul. We talked a little bit about length of time, and I think that 7 to 10 years for an exit's probably right, which means that it's going to take a little while to get there. So, but yeah, I think the perception changed a bit. I'm looking over at Ryan, who was the lead mentor. He shaking his head yes, so I'm not the only one.
You want me to answer the question, please?
You were a mentor?
Yeah, so I had the honor of, in my role, I get to see how each team is developing over time. And I can honestly tell you, they're different people from when they start the program versus when they graduate the program. And I think they surprise themselves, they surprise us, and that is huge, right, Carrie? That's right. I served as a mentor on TK Quant's team, but I popped in and out of all of the other teams, and I think the biggest challenge that a startup faces, besides the fact that they have to have grit and tenacity, is team dynamic, right? Investors invest in people, and sometimes you don't know all the questions to ask each other. Sometimes you're, a fraternity brother or sister, or, you're a postdoc that has to talk to the faculty, and there's just all these dynamics in that. And so I think being one of the most important lessons, I think, if I was gonna share anything, is just being very transparent with one another and real about what you can and can't do. There's a lot of tactics behind all of these activities and milestones, and they're complex. And so being very real about who you are, what you can do and what you can't do, what you have the time to do and what you don't have the time to do, so that you can cover your blind spots, right? As a team. You are a team, and that's really an important nuance, because you all have prior relationships with one another that might need to change and evolve quicker than you think. And so team dynamics, communication is critical.
I agree also. As a mentor, I was on the team which was very polished, to use Anthony's words, and it sort of came crashing down. The real world of entrepreneurship requires work, and it requires effort. Working effort seems to still, I say twice, right? And it also requires dedication. You need to do this. You have signed up for this program. Somebody is giving you money. Quote Todd once told the team, it is not your money. When you have somebody else's money, be mindful of it. And when you're mindful of it, you find the mentors as your best friends. Okay? Okay, now this is one for both the mentors and the mentees. So we'll just go down and let's see who's as honest as we can be. Talk about the one time when you wished you had a different mentor or mentee. You want to go ahead, please.
We had a really great mentor team. We had one mentor in particular who challenged us often.
Often, every phone call.
Well, he's your friend, so I'll let you say that.
Is that wrong?
Yeah. And it was a bit of a culture difference, because my team's all West Texans and Ron is not, and he was great. He hooked us up with our manufacturer, and that's been huge for us. But one thing that he kept arguing with us about was our sales plan. Our sales force, our sales plan, he wanted us to do one thing, and we're like, no, that's not how it's done in our industry. And up until the last mentor meeting, we were still arguing about how to do the sales portion of our business. And there were days that was a very frustrating exercise.
I know.
So I'll just say this, Ron is a very direct person. West Texans are more smooth how they communicate, and Ron had sold a company to Johnson & Johnson, and so this is RSI as a medical device, and it was a perfect fit in marriage, because I think at the end, out of that frustration comes some actionable things and challenging things that the team has to deal with. And I think it all turned out really well. I'll share a story. So this is a mentee and a mentor. Mark Murdoch and Gage Duckin. So Mark Murdoch is a virtual mentor from Austin, IP attorney extraordinaire. He is like, his mind, it just doesn't let go of dealing with the things that someone has to deal with when you're talking about technology. In addition to the fact that he wanted this particular CEO and the team to do customer discovery. So at every single meeting, he brought up the fact that this team had not done customer discovery. And that challenged this team for probably 3/4 of the way through the program, I think. And finally, it sunk in. And they went through regional I-Corps, became an NSF I-Corps Go team, and we had to adjust all of their milestones and everything that they've done because they waited so long to connect with that feedback. And as a one last sort of effort, they became acclimated and decided to go through that program and do customer discovery. So that's my experience. So I think the takeaway is just, if you hear something more than 3 times from a mentor, get on the phone, go have coffee, go figure out where and what that's all about, because something's missing, right? No matter who it comes from, if someone's repeating and repeating and repeating, remember, we're here for your success, and there's something that you're not maybe getting.
Can you
I think,
say,
yeah, I was gonna say, because I think sometimes the delivery that the mentors give are passionate in their own direction. I know Ron, and he is so well intended, but boy, you just want to punch him in the mouth sometimes. So, but again, it's like, how do you gauge that communication style so that other people can hear it?
And these two are virtual mentors, right? And so keep in mind, you don't have eye contact, you don't have maybe the same kind of relationship. But you know what? We're in West Texas, and we gotta get to Boston, we gotta get to Silicon Valley, we gotta get to Austin, we gotta get to these places, and they're your people that are gonna get access to markets, distribution, things like that. So we have to figure out a way to bridge that, but you're absolutely right. And Mark is also very direct.
Right.
So.
you didn't say the punchline, so Gage's mentor on the I-Corps team, he chose Mark,
Oh, yeah.
right? That's
And every day he chose Mark, that's the punchline, because every day during the mentoring and Accelerator, he wanted Mark off the team, and I kept asking why. If you want a mentor off the team, you have to justify that. And now Mark is the mentor on his I-Corps Go team, which is like the 180-degree difference. Right, so I think the learning is that there was learning, and that's a great thing for them. They've evolved.
So Lindsay already talked about our example, Ron. When we're going down the road for the 3rd time and he's trying to convince us to do something and everybody's just on the teams getting really, really frustrated about it. So how do you deal with that? They looked at me and said, why aren't you upset? And I said, because he's advising and I'm going to decide. So the role of the mentors is to give you direction, but in the end, you're the ones trying to pull the trigger. You're the one to decide.
Actually, mine's mildly technical, but I'll try and keep it not technical. We had a team push back on some milestones. So they were set to make their milestones, and then we had our monthly meeting, and it was very salesy and very pretty, and very quickly the CEO went, we're not going to make any of our deadlines, but let me show you this PowerPoint. And as we dove into it and got a little deeper, we found out there was some technical thing that he wasn't sure about that was going to cause them to miss their deadlines. And as we kind of dove into it, it felt a little bit like a board meeting where you didn't really actually have an answer, because there wasn't really an answer, other than they were just going to miss and slide. And so, anyway, I would say the learning was after that, I think we badgered them for probably 2 or 3 solid weeks before they actually came up with an answer and got back on track. So, know your stuff, I guess, is probably the right answer there.
Rather than I could give you names, but I'm not going to give you names. I'm going to talk about more traits, I think. I think one trait that with fellow mentors that I like is the ability, whether you have the right answer or not, the ability to influence is really important. So it's important what you know, but it's also important how you share it, how you communicate. I think that's an important part of it. I think the other thing from a mentee perspective, something that I really value is I prefer mentees who are capitalists. And what I mean by that is the ability the desire to make money. That sounds crazy, but if you deal with teams that are highly focused on research, they can fall in love with the research and the idea of getting grant money, and they can get stuck in this concept of how long they want to stay in that versus exit and forming a company that makes money in the commercial space. So that's one of the things I value in mentees, unabashed capitalists.
So as one of the research teams, to get to the question, I don't think that there was ever a time that we doubted or questioned anybody on our mentor team. We didn't always understand the feedback we were receiving because we just didn't have the context as researchers and academics to understand what we were being told to do. But I can tell you that all of our team members came in with the complete understanding that this was new space for us and we didn't have that background. So for me or any of our team to dig our heels in and say, no, we're not going to do that, or to push back, it was silly. We didn't know anything. We still know very little, we know more. But
You know I could have never could.
yeah,
I know
there's a
that.
story. There's a
Because he's
story.
the CFO.
Yeah. Left and right, that's all I know. But the point is that I think our team functioned well, and there was never a point in time where we looked as a team at each other and said, we need to deal with this mentor. We went into every meeting with the expectation of humility and the idea of we're here because you guys know what to do and we don't. And so why would we argue anything when we haven't done anything? And so, Kim, you can explain whether that's how that came across, but we purposefully went into this process going, we don't know anything and we know we don't know anything. And honestly, I think that was one of our biggest strengths, is that we were a team that was proud of what we were working on, but we had no chip on our shoulder in terms of pride related to the process. We had some grit, I think. We were a little bit tenacious. You tell us what to do and we're going to go do it. There was no pushback, I don't think. Now, there was some times when we didn't get it, but our mantra became, we don't know what we don't know, so tell us what we don't know and we'll go do it. And I think that's pretty much the way it worked with us, right?
I would agree. This is probably one of the most coachable teams. I mean, first of all, the team is brilliant. The team members are very, very accomplished scientists and clinicians, and then you've got an engineer on your team. They were humble, I mean, the most humble team, and willing to accept information and everything about business and the startup experience that they didn't know. And so they've come a long way from where they started, but absolutely just emulating that coachability is for me, I mean, they've been phenomenal.
And I think the tendency, I'm guessing there are several of you that have a business background, and my assumption is the natural tendency is to come in and try to impress the mentors with how much you know. I don't know that they necessarily care about that. They care about your business. And so for us, it was real simple because we didn't know anything. That was real easy. But for some of you, you may have to not try to impress your mentors and listen before you share your ideas of how you think it's going to work. Now, I may be way off here, but that's what I'm assuming. So.
That's great advice. I think teach both the mentors and the mentees. They should listen to each other, and then the meetings go better. And if you have something negative about a mentor, feel, and then you shut your mind down when you're not hearing. And every time the mentor speaks or the mentee speaks, been there, right? Okay. So we talk about the selection process a little bit. And from the mentors and the mentees, there are some new mentors here on the Accelerator. So just in terms of what was the most important criteria for you when you picked a mentor, and also from the mentors when you picked a team, what was the criteria? Because we get to pick our favorites and you get to pick your favorites.
So the things I was looking for when we started this process for mentors was to recognize the things that my team isn't good at. We have 3 PhD scientists, and John, God love John. Because we all go, man, we don't know that business stuff, that's John. Any business question, he's the one to ask. But to go, all right, what do we need to get that will help John with the business side? And who will teach myself and Dr. Green and Dusty, the other members of the team, this area that we aren't really good at? Because I'm a lab scientist, you talked about falling in love with the research. You remember me, David, I do fall in love with the research. And, but it is a business, so you have to acknowledge you don't know everything and find the people who will probably have the knowledge you don't have to fill in the gaps of what you don't know.
Probably the thing that I look for the most through the mentor selection process was to knowing from the work we had done, what are the biggest deficiencies we have, and who are the mentors that can bring that body of knowledge to the table. And the other thing I think that was even more important than that was to look at the mentors, and wish we'd had a little more time to do this in the process. But what's the personality like, and can we work together? It's fine if you're going to challenge each other and have discussions, but probably got to be respectful and